welcome in to the Feelings Over Facts podcast. I am your host, Zach Simmons, here with my co-host, Daniel Jones, aka DJ. DJ, how are you feeling?
I am feeling excited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Back again. Why are you excited, DJ? May I ask?
I mean, come on now, dude. We got some exciting things coming up in the sports world. One of those being the return of football, one of the greatest sports to watch. I think we can agree with that.
That is true. We are currently at this moment less than 24 hours from real live football. Can you believe it?
It's the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, count it. Preseason's like at least 50% of what the regular season is.
So does that mean that the Hall of Fame game's like 25% of that then? Because that's kind of what it is at this point.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the Hall of Fame game is probably more live action, what we're probably going to see in actual regular season than the rest of the preseason, just because it's the first game. I feel like everyone's jacked up for the first game. So I think the Hall of Fame game, there's an argument to be made that it could be better football than other preseason games.
I'm calling cap. That's BS. You're waffling. Come on now. You're trying to get hype about something. You're trying to get hype about something that's not that
hype. Let me be excited.
No.
I am ready for football.
You're not allowed. I'm excited about it too. I'm excited about it, but let's not act like it's going to be something better than it is. It's going to be third and fourth string players getting an extra game on tape, basically. Like try and get tape out to the rest of the NFL. So that's basically what it is. Let's call it what it is. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Okay, expound on that. You want to go there?
I'm just saying, we don't have to have a full Hall of Fame game debate. That's not what we're here to do today. I believe it to be the best preseason football that we will see, just because it's the first one and everyone's going to be, just like jacked up where football's back. So
see,
I'm excited to see it.
Week 2 preseason is way better than a Hall of Fame game. Because that's when usually they do the dress rehearsals where the players that actually you want to see play the most. A series or two, I know.
It's a fair argument.
I win that argument. There's not even an argument. It's not a discussion.
I don't know.
Okay.
I've heard it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's right.
Well, welcome back, everyone. This is what everyone tunes in to hear, DJ. Let's just talk about preseason football. That's what everybody's here for.
Any betting advice? Go Ravens on the win week 1.
Yeah. They never lose in the preseason. It never happens.
I'm putting some money on the Ravens to win week 1. Might put my whole bank account.
They'll do it, man. They do not like to lose preseason games. But thank you for joining us once again. A little bit of information at the top as per usual. Go subscribe to the Feelings Over Facts YouTube. We are now at 51 YouTube subscribers. Go hit us up on Instagram and TikTok at Feelings Over Facts Podcast. We are rapidly approaching 100 followers on both TikTok and Instagram. Go give us a follow, give us a like, give us a subscribe, share it, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, tell everybody.
And also what we should do is we're going to make a post where we're going to tell you to ask a question, and we'll actually do a fan question kind of part to next week if we can, if we get enough responses. So we'd love to hear from y'all.
Yep, for sure. We'll get that going. We'll get a section where we answer some fan questions. Maybe some more viewer mail. I don't know. We'll see what we get.
I haven't heard from Roquan in a while.
Yeah, I'm eagerly expecting his second letter, but maybe here soon.
The post office
lost his mail. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, today we have gone through in our past 2 episodes. Go check them out. All of our over-unders for our for the AFC and the NFC. We've given out a perfect 32 for 32 over under win totals for the AFC and the NFC.
You're welcome.
Yes, you're welcome. Go ahead and go just parlay all those together. Make you a perfect little bet there.
On FanDuel.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they'll sponsor us here soon.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Today, we are going to be going through the NFC North and the AFC North, discussing each team in a little bit more in-depthly than we did in our over-under. And we are going to be labeling out our finishing seeding for the division, who we think will win, who will finish second, third, fourth in both of those divisions. So we're going to be doing that this week. A little preview to next week, though. We are going to be skipping the NFL next week and then continuing the following week on our division previews, because next week is the podcast before the Premier League season kicks back off. And we're going to be doing our full table prediction podcast next week for the Premier League right before it gets kicked off. And I don't know, DJ, we could potentially have some special guests next week. I don't know. We'll have to
Possibly.
wait and see who joins us back in the podcast booth. All right. That's everything on the top. DJ, I'm excited. Let's get into our let's go NFC North first, and let's preview these teams and who we think will be finishing in what position. I will go ahead with the NFC North and give a little information that I have, sharing which team the bookies currently like the most. So currently in the NFC North, the favorite is the Detroit Lions at plus 120 to win the division. Then you have the Vikings and the Packers are right around about the same. Vikings at plus 300, Packers at plus 380, and then in last place in the division prediction is the Chicago Bears at plus 425. So that is how the bookies currently have it. DJ, tell me what you got for this division.
Well, not for nothing, but I did not look at the bookies prediction or their odds to see who they like the most. I just went based on my gut, based on my feelings, as we do here in the Feelings Over Facts on the FOF.
Mm-hmm.
So fourth, I'm gonna go with the Bears, and me saying them being fourth does not mean that I think that they're an awful football team by any means necessary. I just think that this division is with a lot of question marks, and one of those is, can Justin Fields kind of keep progressing and showing that he can be a franchise quarterback? They finally got him some weapons that I think that this is the year that is kind of put up or shut up time for me to see what he's got. And honestly, their biggest part on their offense was just their O-line. They needed big help. And I think Darnell Wright, I was a little skeptical on. I don't know if he's going to translate into the NFL, but if you got, like I say, if a GM if he has a guy he likes, you go for it. It's what you have to do. So they like Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. He's a big old left tackle, and hopefully for Justin Fields' sake, he's there for the next 10, 15 years and protecting his backside.
Yeah.
I have them dead last, though. Looking at the schedule, it's the NFC North has some tough opponents, meaning division matchups. As we all know in the NFL, you go up against one NFC division and one AFC division. They have the entire AFC West, which I think is one of the most deep divisions besides the Vegas Raiders in the NFL right now, with Denver, the Chargers, and the Chiefs defending Super Bowl champs. So right off the bat, like all these teams in the NFC North, I don't feel super great about except one, and it's the Lions. That's just a little precursor. But I'm just looking at their schedule. I think they end up splitting with the Packers. And I see them end up splitting with the Vikings because I think they're all going to be kind of clustered in that near the bottom. But it's going to be a tight race. I can see. I'll be honest with the Bears. There was a lot of I could put them here, but I can also see them going here. So I have them fourth. I like some of their additions. I like Nate Davis. I think he's a great run blocker, but his pass pro's got a little bit of needs a little bit of work. And we already kind of referenced their first round pick. So the defense has got some holes still, but I like the Tremaine Edmonds pickup. I think he's a great middle linebacker. He's all over the field. So I have them fourth starting off.
Fair enough. I respect the Bears pick. I think that they definitely have the probably the worst overall roster in the division. I would say pretty confidently. I am gonna go ahead and give. Hold on, my bad. I was just pulling up the schedule right here. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll just go 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll go ahead and get my fourth team in this division.
Okay.
And this may surprise some people. We're starting off hot, DJ. A little bit of some hot take. I don't know. You may not think this is a hot take.
The hot mic in his hand.
Fourth place in the NFC North. I have the Minnesota Vikings. And I know that could be seen as a little bit of a hot take because of how good they did last year. But look, the Minnesota Vikings,
they overachieved last
year.
They
did. That's going to be my point, man. They overachieved so much last year. They won, I think it was 7 games, like with that were just under a 3-point victory. They had 7 games that they won. That was just a field goal difference. So it could have been a season if it had gone another way in another multiverse where they lost those 7 games and they were one of the worst teams in the NFL. And I think it's hard to be down on them for a lot of people because they do have, in my opinion, the best receiver in the NFL in Justin Jefferson. But we've seen great receivers be on bad teams before. We've seen, first one that comes to my mind, Calvin Johnson with the Lions. There were some years when he was there when they were pretty bad.
Let's
be honest.
He went through a lot.
He did. Yeah. I'm not trying to hate on Calvin Johnson. I'm just saying there's a world where you can have a great receiver and your team cannot be awesome.
I wouldn't say that's hating on Calvin Johnson. I think that's more respect to Calvin Johnson. He's a good receiver on a bad team. So I
think he's probably the most gifted receiver ever, to be honest. But if you look at the Vikings schedule, they have, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4 games in their first 7 weeks that I feel 100% confident that they are going to lose. And I think they're going to be pretty good-sized underdogs in 4 out of their first 7 games against Philadelphia, the Chargers, Kansas City, and San Francisco. 4 out of their first 7 games, I think that they're going to have a tough time winning. And I think that this team did so well last year because they did win a lot of close games. And they built a lot of momentum, and they started out the season I want to say 6-0.
Yeah, it's like
7-1. Yeah. It was something really good. They got out the gate really well last year, and I think that momentum really carried them through. And I don't foresee that happening again this season. They have a rough start to their season. They have at Philly. They have to play Kansas City, San Francisco, and the Chargers. So I think that I have, and I've said it before, and I will say it again. I think it's like the third time I've said this on the pod. I think this is the season that Kirk Cousins finally just drops off and that he is just no longer viable as a starting quarterback. I've got the Minnesota Vikings my fourth in the division.
To kind of help your argument in this aspect, and we haven't talked about, well, we have, but not today. They lost their bell cow running back. They let him go because they didn't want to pay him, which I get it.
Yeah.
You lose Dalvin Cook. That's a lot of production right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you feel about this running back room, but I mean, just looking at it real quick, you have, all right, so Alexander Madison, he's serviceable. I think he's solid. I don't think he's nowhere near as good as Dalvin Cook, though. Obviously, that's to go without saying. Then you have Ty Chandler, who hasn't done anything in the NFL, but he's from Tennessee. He's from Nashville, so shout out.
Chandler.
Dwayne McBride, who's at a UAB rookie, and I honestly did not watch a lot of him.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it's a very young and inexperienced backfield. And last year, Dalvin Cook was still pretty decent.
I will also say, well, Dalvin Cook's not that. He's not old, but he's old in running back terms, as I do the quotations. He's like, what, 26, 27? He's not that old.
I think 27, yeah.
He's got plenty of football left. But I agree that the schedule is tough. They have and the reason why it's so tough is because they did come in first in their division last year, so they're playing all the first place teams.
Yeah,
they're
like one of those teams that came in first when they probably shouldn't have last year, and now they're coming up against a first place schedule, and I think it's gonna really hurt them.
I mean, just look at the bottom of their schedule. I mean, I'm talking about from 15 down to 18. They play at Cincinnati, then they go to Detroit, Green Bay. I think they can beat. I don't feel super great about Green Bay right now. And then they play Detroit again back to back, which that game may not matter, but if it does, you're probably going to a rockin' Ford Field, which is weird to say. And also, what universe are we living in right now? The Lions are favored to win a division. Let's just talk about that too.
Oh man, we're living in a simulation.
So to kind of jump on your point, the Vikings are my third place team. I do think there's a drop off. I agree with you on that because I do think that last year they had certain players that left that were big parts, big keys to their success. Dalvin Cook, Eric Kendricks, and I think
Thielen is gone. Thielen's gone.
Thielen's gone. Pat Pete's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they replaced Adam Thielen's position with Jordan Addison, but how much?
Yeah,
you can't really throw a super big. Yeah, he's a rookie, but you can't throw like, oh, he's going to be just a boss coming straight out of college. Like it takes some time. So how reliable is a rookie receiver going to be? So it made me a little worried. And also, I'm not saying that they could tank, but it also wouldn't shock me if they tanked to try and go get like Caleb Williams or Drake May. Then there could be another quarterback that jumps up. Yeah, I could see it too. I'm not saying and I don't think out of all the pro sports in America, I don't think the NFL is super prone to tanking, even though when we get to the NFC West, we'll talk about that for a little bit. It's a little precursor to down the road. But I agree with you on the Viking. I just think the Bears are just, like you said, a little bit worse on the roster, but they may overperform what their roster looks like. So when I said there was a lot of noises of me putting them down on this list, I had to take a minute, and I could definitely I could be persuaded to put the Vikings at 4, but I do think that they have more elite talent than the Bears. That's why I put them at 3.
They do, and they have a more experienced quarterback, which does count for something. But yeah, I think that I like your third pick of the Vikings. My third is none other than the Green Bay Packers. I have in third Mr. Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. This take of having the Packers in third is purely a take of I do not know what to really expect out of Jordan Love. To be completely honest, maybe we'll get some information in preseason. Maybe he'll be good. I think that a lot of the reason why I have them over the Vikings, is they have I won't say a cakewalk, but like they have a pretty good start to their season. Their schedule honestly isn't that tough. A couple of their hardest games they have it they have at home. So like, they get Kansas City at home. They
in December, by the way.
Yeah, exactly, which would be tough to go to Kansas City whenever
You mean the Lambeau? It's tough for Kansas City to go to Lambeau.
To go to Lambeau. Yes, that's what I mean. Well, I mean, it's pretty cold in Kansas City too.
It is, but it's just not Lambeau cold.
Yeah. Some of their harder games, going to Pittsburgh, is going to be tough. I mean, that's really about it. At Giants, like it's not a hard schedule that they have, which is good because an inexperienced quarterback playing in some tough environments is usually not a good recipe for success. And this is one of my picks that I feel least amount of confidence about, just because I don't really know what to expect out of Jordan Love. Like I was just saying, we haven't seen a lot from him, but I do think that Matt LaFleur is a pretty decent coach. I think that I like the Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson receiving pairing. They are young, but I think they are talented. This defense still has some good pieces on it. I got them in third.
Okay. So as of last pick, this is my second team. The reason is because I think I trust their defense probably more than I should. I do think that their defense is going to help, like, not carry, but keep them in games more than not. And I think there'll be a lot of close games. I have them second because I do think that they're set up for a little bit more success than the Vikings are as of right now. That could be a complete misread. But I agree with I like the young receiving core that they have. I think Dobbs showed reliability. Good Lord. Reliability. Christian Watson kind of exploded in the second half of the season, which was exciting, and I think that's what they were trying to look for. And I love the running back room. I mean, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are still two solid running backs, and Aaron Jones is getting near the death age of 30 for running backs, and we all know how it's all scary when you're that age. But I mean, A.J. Dillon's still 25, and I think that he can still carry. I think he can carry a running back room. He plays different than Aaron Jones, which is why I think they're a great compliment. But if you had to rely on A.J. Dillon to do things, he could do it. But it goes back to Jordan Love. I don't think I've seen highlights of him in training camp this last week, because training camp just kind of started last week.
Yeah,
and he's thrown some darts. Don't get me wrong. It's just really what's it look like whenever we get on the field on Sundays and Thursdays and Mondays that I want to see. I do agree that I think that their schedule isn't as difficult of like home and away. Going to Mile High won't be easy early in the season. Honestly, though, this might be a hot take. I only see 2 wins in the first 5 weeks.
Only 2 wins in the first 5 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
What, you got the Bears
and Vegas.
And Vegas was at Vegas
on the Monday night too, which and that's me maybe being
prime time for a young quarterback might be tough. I mean, they have 2 primetime games in their first 5.
That's true. Detroit
in week 4 as well.
They get a little bit more time to kind of game plan for that Vegas game, so I feel a little bit better about that now.
I just Thursday to Monday. It's the longest gap you can have, actually.
It is. So maybe that's me giving week
like
2 against I could see them losing to Atlanta in Atlanta week 2. And I don't know why, but I can see it.
Yeah.
So
4 road games in your first 6. That's a lot of travel.
Tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
So who do you have it to?
At 2, I
have
Bears. The Chicago Bears.
Because if
I
you had
talked about this.
holy crap! Let's take a time out for a second. If you would have put the Bears at 1, holy crap! What a hot take.
That would have been a little bit too hot, even for me. But yeah, I talked about this whenever we did their over under. I said that this was my team that I think has the best chance to like triple their wins from the previous season. I think that they have improved a lot. I don't think people are really rating the DJ Moore. They are not rating it, the acquisition of DJ Moore, as high as they should be. This dude has been a top 20 receiver in the league with absolutely terrible quarterbacks. He's like quarterback proof. And that's what you need out of a receiver with Justin Fields, because man cannot be accurate at times. He is still learning how to throw the football on the professional level. And I think that this could be the season that he really excels at that. He's already elite running the ball. We saw that at the end of last year. I think that this could be the season that we see so many quarterbacks when they take the leap. I think that this could be his year. He is one of my dark horse MVP candidates. I haven't looked up his odds, but I think it's definitely way down there. So he's a player that I really like in fantasy as well. I think he's going to be a great fantasy quarterback. But yeah, could be a huge leap for him. I like the DJ Moore acquisition. I think that another year for Claypool to be in this system is going to be good. And they obviously finished in last in their division last year. So they do have a relatively easy schedule. Looking over it right now, I think that we do have a couple of what I like to call no doubt losses. Probably. I mean, at Kansas City, week 3, gonna be tough. At Chargers, gonna be tough. And then
hosting
I'm high on Cleveland as well. So Cleveland in December at Cleveland, where that could be a snow game potentially. That's gonna be a hard one as well. But I like this team quite a bit, and I think that the Vikings falling off and the inexperience of the Packers could lead to the Bears finishing second in this division. And that's where I got them.
That is what we would like to call a hot take. It's not like it's not possible. That's not what I'm saying. It's definitely possible. It's the NFL. The NFL never ceases to surprise us in some way, shape, or form.
It's true.
So, that's
why we love it.
That's true. That's why we always watch it. So, that just leaves us both agreeing that the Detroit Lions are number 1, which
somehow where the Lions are actually good. Dude, I actually love Dan Campbell. I think he's awesome. Like every single clip I see of him at training camps, just coaching and just being just like a dude, is awesome. And I think it's hilarious that he has like 600 grams of caffeine. What's the word I'm trying to think of?
Oh, it's cups. He had like a bunch of coffee.
Yeah, but there's like a certain amount of caffeine. He has like 8 cups of coffee a day. Like, dude is just wired 24/7. But yeah, I love Dan Campbell. DJ, why do you have the Lions as first in this division?
Well, I think that look at this roster, and what I see is Jared Goff. Yes, Jared Goff is Jared Goff. Has he ever? He got a team to a Super Bowl once, but he's the elite. Do we ever say that Jared Goff is elite?
No, definitely
agreed.
Not.
They already technically they have a guy in the waiting in the wings. I don't know how. Hendon Hooker might be really good. Who knows? But I'm not going to judge that. I don't think he's going to be able to play this preseason, which kind of sucks because I would love to see how he would do. I love the Jahmyr Gibbs pick. Maybe not at the pick that they got him, but in the fact that they have Jahmyr Gibbs and they're so high on him, I agree with, because I think he's going to be really good in the NFL, because I think he's that new breed of running back that you need. But they also still have David Montgomery, who isn't terrible when he's on the freaking field and not hurt. It's a big if. But if we look at this receiving room, I mean, Marvin Jones came back, solid veteran receiver, still has it. Amon-Ra St. Brown is that dude.
He is.
He is that dude. And I also think Jameson Williams can be that dude after the 6-week suspension because of gambling.
Yeah.
Which I kind of hate it for him, because I'm a fan of Jameson Williams, and I think he could be elite in the NFL if he just got to be on the field. Last year wasn't really his fault. He was, coming off an injury that happened. I digress. I'm getting off topic. Looking out also on this roster, I don't know if you agree with me. Do you think this might be one of the better offensive lines in the NFL? Because I think it might be.
It's up there.
It's definitely up there. I think it's like Eagles. Eagles still might be number one.
I don't know if I like it better than the Eagles, but it's.
I mean, you have Taylor Decker,
one of the best ones.
Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow. The three of those just alone, those are your bookends and your the quarterback of the offensive line, which is the center. You're in a great spot just there alone. And then you have Jonah Jackson, and I guess the other guard is, I think it Graham Glasgow, if I'm not if I'm mistaken. But that's a solid offensive line.
Yeah,
and
get the job done.
Last year they played really well too, if I'm not mistaken. And this defense,
they need a decent offensive line because Jared Goff is not that mobile.
He is not. Now the defense worries me in certain spots. I do like how Aiden Hutchinson played last year. I think he played really well. I don't think he had super big sack production number. Okay, he had 9.5. I lied. He did. And 3 interceptions.
He had a pretty good rookie year.
He had a great rookie year. And some people were questioning why you would
3
take
interceptions?
him. He had 3 interceptions.
Wow.
Defensive lineman.
Go Aiden.
Yeah, dude. He's that guy.
Yeah.
They drafted Jack Campbell, linebacker out of Iowa. I feel like Iowa linebackers just know how to tackle in general. So I expect this man to be everywhere on the field at once. He's a solid player. I also really like the Brian Branch pick. I don't think he starts immediately, but like halfway through the season, I think he finds a way to be on the field because he's going to be he's an extension of another linebacker, basically. Because the guy can come down. He's a 6 foot, just absolute speedster. I wouldn't say speedster. He can lay the hit when he needs to. And I also really like the C.J. Gardner-Johnson pickup. It was a 1 year, just come here, sit back there with Tracy Walker, and just play safety and just take people's heads off. And that's what Gardner-Johnson does. I'm a big fan of his. Corner kind of worries me. I don't know how you feel about the corner room, but it's kind of barren, honestly.
Yeah, it's a lot of average guys.
It is. I see a lot of Tennessee corners here, and I'm talking about the University of Tennessee, like Emmanuel Mosley and Cam Sutton. Like
Cam Sutton, yeah.
It's just like the 2017, 2018, like Vols, 2019 Vols, whatever year it was. I don't remember what year it was.
Yeah, 20 around there.
It was something like that. So like, there's still some weaknesses on this team. I'm not saying they're amazing, but I do think that they win this division.
Yeah, I have them as my number one as well. For a lot of the reasons that you just listed, they are an all-around solid roster that they have created. And I think that a lot of times that's really just what wins divisions. These teams that are just, they have the all-around just best squad. And I think that's what the Lions have created. And I think that if you watched their offense a lot last year, they made it really easy for Jared Goff to play quarterback. He was throwing to, like, there are some games where I was watching the Lions and Jared Goff would be throwing to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and there would be no one within like 5 yards of him. Like, the separation that this dude creates is insane. And they gave them another a young weapon with Jahmyr Gibbs. This offense, I don't think, is going to be going anywhere. They were the highest scoring offense last year. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. I think they had the highest points. I think they had the highest. I don't know about yards. I think they had the highest points per game.
That sounds
out of.
I think they had like
which is crazy because they didn't have that great of a record.
Well, they had
the
like
defense was bad.
Yeah, they had one of the best offenses in the NFL, but like the worst defense.
Yeah, so they did some addressing of the defense. So I think that if they keep the momentum they got going with the offense and their defense is even just marginally better, this team could easily win this division.
Also, shout out, this is the fantasy sleeper. Look out for Sam Laporta, the tight end out of Iowa. I could see this guy just being like randomly like, oh, hey, this guy's like really good. Halfway through the season, and he's getting like all these targets because they love to throw to tight ends in this offense.
Yes, and they got rid of Hawkinson, so I think Laporta is going to be up there as maybe the number one tight end. Jared Goff likes throwing to his tight end, so
he does. So that's a little fantasy advice on top of it. Not that we're fantasy experts, but
we got the multi-layered advice for you here on the Feeling Over Facts podcast. All right, DJ, that was our NFC North division preview. Let's hop on over to the AFC North. I will get the odds pulled up here so that we can see those.
Is it just me, or do you think that this division's kind of tough to guess?
I think it's tough whenever you have three teams that could reasonably win the division, which is kind of how I see this division in my eyes, especially with the Burrow injury recently.
That's part of why I thought it was so tough. Before the Burrow injury, I would have said the Bengals would have won this division without any hesitation.
And the sports books would agree to you because the Bengals were minus odds to win the division. It is now Bengals plus 160, Ravens plus 210, Browns plus 380, Steelers plus 45. So Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Steelers in that order is how they currently have it. I will go ahead and give my fourth team first. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers for me. I just mentioned, I said I had three teams that could reasonably win this division. Steelers are not one of those teams. And it pains me to say because I do love Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of my favorite coaches to just like watch interviews and just watch him coach. I mean, he's been so successful in the league for so long. I think that he's got to have a losing season eventually. At some point, he's got to. It's got to happen.
You're calling it out.
I think that this could be it. But that's not to say I don't like this team. I think in other divisions, in some of the more poor divisions, this team could win those divisions. Like if you throw this team in the like the AFC South, if you throw them in the division with the Tampa Bay Falcons, what is that? The NFC South. If you throw this team in the South, one of the South divisions, I think they could win it because I mean they do still have TJ Watt, who's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, and pass rushing is insanely important. And having one of those in a division with some good quarterbacks is a huge plus. But they are just really young on the offensive side of the ball, and I think that we've seen at times when teams can overcome the youth, but it's hard to ignore the past that young quarterbacks and young offenses don't really do extremely well. I mean, you've got George Pickens, Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson is still pretty young.
Brian
Muth is young. Kenny Pickett is just his second year. So I think that I have them in last, but it's not that I don't like this team. I think that they could do very well. They could prove me wrong, but I just like some of the other teams in this division a little bit more. I think they have more firepower than the Steelers do.
Yeah, I also have them fourth, but I definitely think I can see them fighting for a wild card spot still, meaning that I can still see them being near over 500. That's how competitive I think this division can be.
All of these teams could contend for a wild card spot.
They could. Also, to add to the young talent they have already added, let's talk about Darnell Washington, the athletic freak of a tight end that he is. 6'7" tight end coming out of Georgia. You don't see those every day. They don't grow those everywhere. They don't grow those everywhere. They come out of nowhere. And this defense is still elite. Let's talk about that defense too. I mean, you still have Cam Hayward. You still have probably, if he's not number one and he's like 1B behind like Nick Bosa, I put like him and TJ Watt, two of the just nastiest pass rushers in the NFL right now. Yeah, these guys are insane. And then let me talk about my guy, the guy I've backed since day one in Minkah Fitzpatrick, because this guy's still insane and he's everywhere.
He is.
Minkah Fitzpatrick was just put on the earth to play safety in the NFL, and he has proven that time and time again.
Great player.
Great player. Honestly, you can put him at corner and he'd probably still do as well, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what Joey Porter Jr. does this year. I think he's got a chance to come to this team. And honestly, I don't love their corner room besides like him. Like you have Levi Wallace, who's not terrible, but he's not great. He's average, I'd say. He's a tall corner. But I mean, Joey Porter, he's a 6'2" corner. You don't see those every day either. So I think he's got a chance to be something special with this defense. And I think he went to the perfect spot for him to kind of show what he could do. And an underrated pickup. Actually, I don't remember. Was he a pickup? Cole Holcomb. Cole Holcomb. He was on. He was on the Commanders, wasn't he, last year? Yeah. Love Cole Holcomb. The guy is just everywhere. He really, just whenever the Titans played against him this last year, he literally was around the ball every single play. He's fast, he's quick, he's smart, he puts himself in good situations. They got rid of Devin Bush because the man couldn't stay healthy. But I think they replaced him with somebody that can kind of do similar things to what he does, but except he's got better what's the word I'm looking for? Durability. Yeah. So I like that. I still like their defense. And just because I put them fourth, does that mean I don't think that they can't still fight for a wild card spot? Because I definitely can see it.
Yeah, fair point. On to number 3. I'll go ahead and go DJ. I have the Baltimore Ravens at 3.
Okay.
And kind of in the similar vein of the it'd be kind of the theme for this division. I mean, I like all these teams, but I can't have them all winning the division. There can only be one division winner. And I think that it was between well, I'll spoil my list, so I won't say who it was between. But this team has some absolute playmakers on their team. On the offensive side of the ball, namely Lamar Jackson. He could work in pretty much any offense. But I think that the Ravens are just really going to have a hard time on offense this year, mostly because I think that they're going to be trying to, and I said this in my preview for their team over under, whenever I said under, I think that they're going to be trying to do a lot of what is not their strong suit, and that is pass the ball. And I love their tight ends. Isaiah Likely potentially could be the best backup tight end in the NFL. I think that he 100% should be starting somewhere. And what are you eating?
Okay.
Nice. I was just seeing you eating, so I was like, what is that? It looks delicious.
Lemon cake.
Oh, yum.
Sorry to take you off your
But
point.
no, you're fine. I want to hear, because I could be like, if I heard a good argument for the Ravens to do well, I could probably get behind it. This is one of those teams that is kind of like the Packers, where I just kind of like don't really know where to put them at the moment. I don't love them more than the Bengals and the Browns, but I could see an argument for them being good. But I've got them in third. What about you? Or who's your third team?
My third team is the Cleveland Browns. And I know that you kind of precursed to kind of being high on the Browns. It's not, once again, this is not because I don't think the Browns could actually turn around. They played kind of mid last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that had to do with one, having Jacoby Brissett, your starting quarterback for most of the season. Two, Deshaun Watson coming back and playing full football, full contact for the first time in 2 years?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of question marks. And I think for players that were on the team too, they're like, okay, well, how's this going to work? Or, hey, what's my role going to be when this happens? So to be a little skeptical makes sense for me of the Browns. It's not. I like their talent. I think Deshaun Watson can still play an elite level in the NFL. He's got a full offseason. I think he's going to try and I think he can figure it out. I love Amari Cooper as his number one option. I think he's one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL, mainly because he went to Dallas and honestly didn't perform to his standards. But I think a lot of that was due to injury. Personally, last year he played out of his mind with a team that probably wasn't that great overall wise, especially on the offensive side of the ball for most of the season. I will say though that Nick Chubb, one of the best running backs in the league, and I think that continues this next year. Speaking of more of the receiving options, I love Donovan Peoples-Jones. Guy kind of came out of nowhere when he first came in the league and has consistently been there. I like the trade of Elijah Moore. I think that they need to use him as a slot option, and I also love the pickup of Cedric Tillman from Tennessee because I think he can get open underneath. And he didn't have like elite speed, but the man can get open. He's got a route tree that is pretty prolific. And I don't think this offensive line is that terrible. I know during our over-under, you kind of talked about you thinking this offensive line was bad. I don't think it's awful. I like their bookend tackles. Wyatt Teller's still a great guard. And then so is Joel Bitonio. So, yeah, like, center might be their biggest question mark for me personally. But, like, offensively, they have the pieces. And then defensively, you have Myles Garrett. You have Denzel Ward, who's a very good corner in this league.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of JOK. Man is looking like a speeding bullet on a football field. He's insane.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to like on this team. I'm just a little, like I said, a little skeptical on where they can go and can they pull it together.
Yeah. There are some question marks. I will say that I do have the Cleveland Browns finishing second in this division. I think that if you look at it on a position by position basis, it makes a lot of sense. Who is the best running back in this division? I think that you got to say that's probably Nick Chubb by a wide margin, probably. Who is the best pass rusher in this division? Some people would say T.J. Watt. I think that that's probably true, but Myles Garrett is right there. He is not far behind T.J. Watt as one of the best pass rushers. I think that Amari Cooper is probably like the third best receiver in this division. I don't see anyone from the Ravens or Steelers better than Amari Cooper. David Njoku, besides Mark Andrews, could be the best tight end in this division. Like they across their roster, they are extremely well versed and they stack up well against the rest of the division. And this take of them doing good this year is mostly just a take of, I think that Deshaun Watson can get back to the elite level that he was at. I think that he looked extremely rusty at the end of last year coming back. And I think that having a full offseason in the system, getting to know the full extent of an offseason with this team and just preparing as he should before when he was playing at an elite level, I think that he could carry this team to be second in the division. And if I'm looking at their schedule, I see weeks 7 to 16. If they do well in their divisional games, I don't know if they're going to lose a game. Like, they have a long run in the middle of the season where they just don't really play any hard games. I mean, you've got Indianapolis, Arizona, Denver, Rams. I don't love Jacksonville, but I'll throw them in there. Chicago, Houston. Like, they have a lot of easy games in the middle of their schedule, and I think that that's going to help them kind of get in a groove. I've got the Browns in second.
I'm a little shocked you threw Denver in there. I kind of feel like Denver might have a better year this year, but hey, I get it based off last year.
I was just saying off general consensus, most people are low on the Broncos. Not me. Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh my God, stop. Get it enough
which means that we both have the number 1 team in this division. Or have you done your number 2?
My number 2 is Baltimore, and it's because I think Lamar's going to come.
Yeah, you haven't done it.
I think he's coming in, and he's going to be wanting to show people like, hey, I'm worth the money that I got. Let me show you.
He does have a lot to prove.
He has a lot to prove. This is the best receiving core he's gotten since he's been in Baltimore by far. It's not even close, including tight ends. He's got 2 great tight end options, and I think that offensive line's still pretty solid. So I expect that the Baltimore should be a wild card team. I have them as a wild card team, like right now.
Yeah,
like
that's they're a wild card team. Browns.
I can see the Browns being a wild card team.
Whoever finishes second in this division is going to be a wild card team.
I think whoever finishes third is fighting for that last wild card spot, though. At least fighting.
Yeah. That's how it was. This division had 3 teams in the playoffs last year.
Yep.
Because the Ravens and the did it have 3 teams?
Ravens and the Bengals played
no.
Wild
Steelers didn't make
the playoffs.
It was just 2. Never mind.
That's right. Yeah.
I am mistaken.
How dare you not be a perfect human?
I know. I'll be better. All right. Number 1, we both have the Cincinnati Bengals. DJ, tell me why you had the Bengals win this division.
Well, before the injury, it's Joe Burrow, and I think he was my MVP front runner. Now, not to say that he still can't do that, but how healthy is that leg? And is it going to be hindering him the rest of the year? I still think that he could, if that offensive line is improved like they've tried to improve it, he can sit in the pocket and still just dice up defenses because he's got the football IQ to do so. But I'm a little more worried because, like, before he had the calf strain, I would have said that the Bengals are probably going to run away with this division. That's not like a hot take because I really do think that the Bengals are one of the best teams in the AFC. I really like the receiving core. I feel like you have to be like living under a rock to think that this receiving core isn't one of the best trios in the NFL with, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. I think that's a solid group. I do like Joe Mixon too as a running back, but I worry about what happens since last year, like some RJP Ryan came out of nowhere and kind of played out of his mind. He's gone now. So do they have a second running back to kind of take the carries if Joe Mixon gets hurt again? I don't know. And then the offensive line, I think, is starting to gel a little bit more. I don't mind the pickup for them of Orlando Brown because I don't think Jonah Williams was really doing it for them. That offensive line was not good last year. But at the beginning of the season, Joe Burrow was getting killed.
Yeah.
So, and their defense, it's weird. I feel like their defense has a couple like really good at like pieces to it, but I don't see like anything elite. And they also lost their starting safety from last year, in Jesse Bates. So
Yeah.
they lost some of the back safe coverage that they had from last year, but I still think that this team is elite enough, and they have a quarterback, which I feel like is the most important thing to have. You have a quarterback that's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
Case
One of the
point.
best. For sure. Yeah. You make some very good points there. I'm going to give my take on the Bengals on the stance that Joe Burrow is healthy and playing pretty close to the start of the season, because if he's not, then, I mean, obviously he makes everything go with this team. They're not going to be very good if he's not there.
If he's not there, they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, he is a huge instrumental part to that team. But they potentially could have. I mean, let me start by saying this: they're making all of the moves that say we want to win the Super Bowl this season. Like, we don't really care about the future. We are trying to win this season. I mean, you have your players coming out and saying that. In a recent interview, Joe Mixon said that the bigger picture led him to reworking his contract and staying. Like, he said that he felt that they have a shot to win the Super Bowl this year. Them not trading T. Higgins and basically letting him go for free next offseason in free agency is them saying they want to take one more stab with their current roster at winning a Super Bowl. They feel that they are there. Speaking of T. Higgins, he could potentially be the best number 2 receiver in the NFL. This 1-2 punch of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is absolutely lethal. And that's not even mentioning Tyler Boyd, who I think is a great number 3.
He's also a good number 2.
Yeah, which I think he will be after this year, probably. If
he's also
if he decides to stay. Yeah. If he doesn't try to go get some money before he retires. But if you look at their schedule, obviously they won the division last year, and their schedule is it's pretty tough. I mean, they play every single great team in the NFL. Outside, they don't play the really good teams that they don't play. They don't play the Eagles, but they do play the Chiefs. They do play the Bills. They play San Francisco. They obviously are already in a tough division.
They play the Titans.
Yeah.
Great team.
Yep. In Nashville, October 1st. I'm seeing tickets as low as $111 right now on this website.
Same. Oh my goodness.
There you go. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about the Bengals. They're a great team. They seem like they're a team that is on a mission. And I do not hate you saying that you think Joe Burrow could win the MVP, because I think that he definitely could if he comes into the year healthy.
I agree. I think he's going to be okay. The fact that it's just a calf strain makes me feel a little bit better about it. But if it was a full torn Achilles, I would have immediately put the Bengals dead last, because I don't have any faith in whoever their backup quarterback is. Yeah. I honestly don't even know who I think it's Jake Browning. Yeah, it's Jake Browning or Trevor Siemian. Do you feel great about either of those?
No, definitely not.
No, not at all.
Yeah, if he's not fit, then they're going to struggle. But all right, DJ, there we go. There is our Norths, our NFC, our AFC North, picked 4 through 1. You're welcome, America. All right.
And Germany and France, because they listen there too.
DJ, let's go ahead and hit up our feelings of the week. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first? What do you feel?
I will go first.
Oh,
This
you got one.
This is a hot
ready.
take. I am
Ooh.
ready. I'm calling that the United States women's national team will not win the World Cup this year.
But freedom.
This has nothing to do with freedom. This has everything to do with focus. I feel like everybody's worried about their what the media is saying about them on the team and like how they're acting and all this other stuff that I think is going to be a distraction to the team, regardless of how you feel about how they reacted when they got through the group. Yeah, it's great to get through the group. I understand why Carly Lloyd was like, I don't know why y'all are dancing and cheering. Like, you barely got out of it. Your best player of the game was the post. Like, y'all are lucky you're not going home. I get why they're like, like excited, like, hey, we're going through the group stage.
Yeah.
This just doesn't feel like the same, national team that we've seen in the past. And sometimes with expectation, you get the expectation that you get is a little bit unfair, and maybe that you get some unfair criticisms, and that's true. This has nothing to do with it. It's just a feeling that I have. I don't feel like this team's that focused. I could see them making it to the World Cup final and then getting beat in the final. That could happen. I just don't see them pulling it out. I could be dead wrong, but just based on how I'm feeling about how they're coming together as a group, it doesn't seem like they're super. All the other external things seems like it's drawing their attention away, and maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm not in the locker room. I have no idea, but that's just what I feel like. So that's my feeling of the week.
There you go. Your feeling of the week. Well, I hope you are wrong. Hope they can. Hope they can pull it out and get it done. But it does seem like this is. I
hope I'm wrong too.
Feeling of just not being their year.
Yeah. I hope I'm wrong too. I want them to win it. This is not a. Oh yeah, I want you to lose, like anything like that. This is like I want them to win, but yeah, it just feels like this doesn't feel like the other years. That's it.
Yeah, fair take. Good feeling of the week. My feeling of the week. The Hall of Fame game is the best preseason game of the year. There we go.
You see that thing? You see the thing on top of your head? It's called a cap. That's why you're wearing it, because you're capping the entirety of our audience.
It's the best. Fully agree.
You agree with yourself. Shocked.
Yep. From the Feelings Over Facts podcast, I am Zach Simmons. He is Daniel Jones, a.k.a. DJ. Tune in next week for our Premier League table prediction with some special guests. Everyone, have a good night and good morning.
Peace.